Yes, it is.
We don't see you, John, though. Do you want us to not see you?
You don't see me? I don't understand why you wouldn't. Let's just see if we can do that.
We see Ed.
Huh. That didn't do it. Okay, who's running things? Is Amelia running things or Michelle? Anybody?
I'm running things tonight, or running the Zoom at least.
Well, if anybody could advise me how to get my video on, I'd be grateful. I don't see anything here that suggests how to do it.
Yeah, it looks like your video is on because we're not seeing your name like we do for the other participants who have it turned off. So I think it's on. I'm just, maybe there's a misconnection if you have a separate camera or something.
Well, I don't see the little light at the top of my monitor that I usually see.
You can try in the bottom left corner above the video icon, there's a little arrow like a carrot. If you click that, you might be able to select a different camera.
At the bottom left?
Yeah, do you see there's the microphone icon and the video icon, or like a camera icon?
Yeah, I see. I get a mute thing and I've got a stop video thing.
So next to stop video, there's like a little carrot. So
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
you could choose some of those options that might fix it.
Okay. What should I choose? Video settings?
Video settings.
Okay, well. My video, I don't know, mirror my video.
When you go to video, do you see an image of yourself? If you go to the stop video icon and the carrot that Amelia was talking about, and then go to video, do you see kind of a screenshot of yourself?
No.
Well, is video required?
Select the camera, FaceTime HD camera built in. That's checked off. I guess that must be what's built into my iMac.
Right, but it must not be working for some reason.
Well, can I function without being seen? I mean, can we
Yes,
press on regardless?
yep,
All right.
sounds good.
Okay, you guys are missing out, so I can tell you. Anyway.
So noted.
Okay, we'll call a meeting to order, Conservation Commission and the Wetland Agency, Tuesday, September 28th at 6 o'clock PM, more or less. Roll call, please, Alexis.
Absolutely. John Mailing,
Here.
Stephen Clocky.
Here.
Ed Halwinko,
Here.
Don Levin,
Present.
Nat Pence.
Here.
Thank you. That's it for tonight. I did want to, Chairman Mailing, we had a change in membership. I didn't know if you wanted to bring that up or would like me to.
With a change in what?
Membership in the
Oh, yeah.
agency.
Yes, it's true. We lost Farah Marin. She has resigned because she's got work that ties her up tonight. So she's not with us tonight and she won't be. And that's the status. The rest of us will have to soldier on. Okay, are there any public comments at this point? Anybody signed up to speak at all? I'm thinking we have a public hearing at 7. If the question on how much we can get done before 7, we might be able to bring some things forward from the end of the agenda. Anyway, no public comments, I gather.
So there is one person in the participants or attendees, and So David, if you have general comments not regarding any pending application, but comments for the Conservation Commission, really, as opposed to the Inland Wetland Agency, if you do want to speak, you can raise your hand. But if you are attending to speak at the public hearing for 70 Witch Lane, don't raise your hand now. Or if you are listening in for any of the other pending applications, we can't have comments on those right now either. Okay, I don't see any action, so I don't think that there is any public comments. Oh, hold on one second. Oh, thank you. Yep, just listening. No comments.
Okay, so the first iteration of public comments is closed off, and we can move on to receipt and discussion.
Sounds good.
Takes us to S21 577 63 Cranberry Road, Lombardy.
Yes.
I think I see that the Lombardis are here. Welcome again, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Corrective action, construction of retaining walls, garden and deck with storage underneath and adjacent to wetlands and a water course.
So, and I just wanted to clarify, there were no new receipts for tonight. This is continued discussion and or decision for these two items.
Okay, so where do we stand with the Lombardis? They came up last time with a proposal.
Right, so
Which-
their application was received at the last meeting. They received some preliminary comments. I think it was you, Chairman Moling, that mentioned that the work within the wetland itself, that you would prefer to see that removed. If you recall, the Lombardis are seeking to kind of keep and retain the work that they had initiated at their property. This was the one that has a deck adjacent to the existing residence, and then some work along the driveway and a installation of garden that included a low curb or low retaining wall around the garden. And I can show photos if you want. I think I was able to, I know I had a lot of computer issues at the last meeting. I think I was able to show photos of this property though, if I recall, but I can show those again.
I think
And so I think that you had commented that, you know, pulling the concrete work out of the wetland would be advisable. I have not yet had a chance to talk to the Lombardis since the last meeting. We are planning to meet on Thursday morning to go over their application. But we haven't, I could not get to meet them before tonight.
well, what do we need to do to get a resolution for this?
Yeah,
The
I mean, I can share my screen and show you their site plan again. And if you want to give them any additional feedback, I think that's probably would be wonderful. Share my screen.
Are you on your own computer again, Alexis?
Well, I'm at work,
Oh, okay.
but on the same really terrible computer. Let me stop sharing. Hold on a second.
You want one of us too, Alexis?
Sure. I think I need to. I'm completely frozen, it looks like.
As soon
I
as you
can
stop
share.
sharing, I
Yeah,
can share.
Let me know which ones you want me to bring up.
okay, if you can force my to stop sharing. I'm completely frozen again.
I think I've stopped yours. Is it still frozen for you, Alexis?
Alexis is frozen.
Oh, okay.
Well, while we're working that out, can I throw a few things at the commissioners and the applicants? I've got 3 points. Number one is that I've got no problem whatsoever with the deck as built. Doesn't, seem to have any effect on the function of the wetland as far as I'm concerned. The retaining wall, on the other hand, does and will. And so I concur with where we started with this conversation, where that, unfortunately, it's a beautiful looking wall, but it really needs to come out. And then that area needs to be returned to its previous both grade and ground cover / planting conditions.
Can we just explain what that is?
I don't know what that is actually. What was it before we changed it and put a wall there?
Go ahead.
Used to be nothing. So we bought this house
So
about.
actually, hold on a second. If you don't mind, just I think we know the backstory. If we can get it back to a condition that is as close as possible to how it would be naturally, that's what we want. Is that
Like when we bought it, like when we bought it?
we can't expect you to put it back to like perfect virgin wetland condition. I think probably unreasonable, but if it was just sort of a slope down to the water and ground cover and such, then that's kind of what we would aim for.
I mean, whatever I try to do over there is a vegetable garden. That's the only things, and
Yeah.
I try to prevent the deer to not coming in.
Yep.
See, that is my garden over there. Yeah, that's
We
what
understand that. Yep. And what we're here to do is enforce the statute that was, codified by the state, which means that wetlands and watercourses are to remain in their natural state, or anything that's done in or around them needs to not affect their functions. And unfortunately, I'm afraid that what you've done is affecting the function of both. I mean, it's right on the wetland line and it's right next to the water course. So if all of your neighbors did what you did, you turn this creek into a raging, whatever, every time it rains. So what I would suggest is to meet up again with Alexis and maybe confer with her about what would be appropriate for the solution.
So where are we talking about? From where to where?
Well, whatever you disturbed, essentially, anything that is within the wetland or, anywhere near the waterway. Oh, not
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's not a pond, it's not a creek, it's a pond, right?
Well,
It's a water course and a pond.
Okay, so be it.
Sorry, this is Alexis. I'm restarting my computer. Yeah, so I think that the Lombardis would love kind of, and I missed part of it because my computer crashed. I know. So I know that there was some discussion regarding removing the poured concrete portions within the wetlands. And is the concern also about the what you're seeing on the screen currently, the portion that is closest to the water course as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any other comments?
Can I ask the applicant why that retaining wall needs to be there?
why the retaining wall?
Yeah, I try. See those posts that comes up. I got deer comes in, and I try to make a vegetable garden over there. and I used to have on the other house because we owned the house of less than 1 year, and this is the only spot I can do my vegetable garden. And that's why the post is over there, because I cannot put the post on the floor or whatever. So, you know, it's like I got for the animals do not coming in and eat all my stuff. That's it's a vegetable garden. That's the only thing I got. There's no garage going over there. There's no shed. But my priority is to have my vegetable garden, because I always had all of my life.
Yeah, we're not saying you can't have one. It's just that you can't have it in that area.
So if the cement comes off,
Mhm.
can it still be done there? Because that's the only place we could do it, where the sun hits.
Yeah, so a garden is considered an as of right activity in wetlands, as long as you're not doing other ancillary work like pouring the walls in order to put the garden in. But we
There
can
would be no walls.
yeah, so we can go over that on Thursday.
Okay, Thursday. Yeah, we can talk about it. Yes.
Yeah, I think there is room, both physically and regulatory wise, room for a garden on your property. I think it's more the other activities that are more of an issue.
Yeah, well, there's no other activity, so that's.
Meaning the pouring of the curb, as you call it.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will look for a way to work with you, Mr. and Mrs. Lombardi. I mean,
Yes.
it's not difficult. I mean, I think any of us could imagine if we lived in that nice house that we'd want to have a little garden out back and whatever. And there's nobody on this commission that would wish otherwise. But we do have to stick with the rules as best we can. And
Right.
we will really struggle to find a way to have it wind up where both of us have what we need.
Yes, okay.
I mean, even if you could give me the walkway, I don't know, this strip goes up because this is the walkway. You're going to the garden, and you don't want to get messy. You want to look at the plan. So that's why I got this strip of cement. That I mean, I don't know if that could be saved. I mean, the side I will take them out, but what about the walkway? With the little gate.
Well, we'll try to save as much as possible.
Yes. Okay.
But it's our we will find a way to work this out where both of us are satisfied.
Yes.
And the next step will be on Thursdays, my understanding.
Yes, Thursday. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we will revisit this at the next meeting. A useful discussion, and good to be able to take another look at this photograph. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on to 8 Leslie Lane, Kurcha, S21 580, correction action permit for replanting of wetland. There is a fairly substantial amount of material on the website that shows how this is being pulled together. I understand that it's, the property is being ready for sale. These kinds of things have to be dealt with in order for the sale to go through, because otherwise there's a blemish on the property. So is Mr. Kirch here? Yeah, I see his name up there.
Yes, and I think, so in your packet of materials that I sent you earlier, or last week, I should say, based on your minimal comments last night when the application, or last meeting when the application was received, there is a draft resolution to approve. The packet of materials submitted by Mr. Kershey is up on the website. I would. My computer is still not working. So Amelia, if you would,
Well, I can say that, you know, I've looked at those documents,
Okay.
at that documentation. As I recall, there was some discussion of some wood chips that had been placed on ground that wasn't permitted. But I was impressed with Steve Danzer's analysis, a soil scientist, who said that it's been there long enough and it's a thin enough layer that it has been basically absorbed into the topsoil. And so I for one, am not concerned about that anymore. And there's no mention of the chips in the draft resolution that staff has provided. So it seems to me that it's a fairly clear road forward on this. And I would ask if any other commissioners have a point of discussion or information or concern about this restoration. Okay, hearing none, I would move to grant application S21 521-580 for corrective action replanting of the wetland at 8 Leslie Lane with the conditions listed. Motion requires a second.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion.
Do
Hearing-
we want
Yeah.
to, I was just gonna ask about this. Are we concerned about the size of the shrubs that are to be planted? It's gonna be about 30 native shrubs and then a wetland native seed mix. Is that an issue for anybody? That's not an issue. I'm just curious if anybody has thoughts on it. Do we guys ever say like 2-gallon shrub or 5-gallon shrub or whatever?
yeah, it's a very good point. So typically, I'm just looking through his application materials. Typically, it's a minimum 3-foot height at the time of planting.
Ah.
And I
I missed that, yeah.
think that, yes, so I think that under overview and site plan in the application materials, Mr. Kershey does indicate the plants will be approximately 3 feet in height. But that you can certainly add that as a condition.
No, I was just too lazy to read that. So no, I don't have any additional comments. I'm in good shape. Sorry.
Anybody else, commissioners? Okay, the motion's been made, seconded, and discussed. I guess we better have a roll call vote, Alexis, because I at least am not visible to raise my hand, and I don't know how to do it
Sounds good.
robotically.
John Ellen?
Did you just call me?
I did.
I vote aye.
Ed Hallowenko?
Ed, can you hear us?
You're muted, Ed. Try it again.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got this weird screen up here. I don't know what happened. I vote aye for it.
Thank you. Steve Clocky,
Aye.
Matt Pence,
Hi.
John Levin.
Yes.
All right, so it carries unanimously.
Okay, terrific. We have a public hearing scheduled for 7. And that's followed by a discussion or decision on the same property, 70 Witch Lane. So I would suggest that we move on to item 8, since we've got a fair amount of time before 7 o'clock.
So moved.
Do we need a motion for that?
Can I move
Alexis?
to amend the agenda to move past the Witch Lane project?
I second that motion. We'll do a motion anyway.
Sounds good.
Okay, no discussion being heard. We move on to bond release and reduction requests S 19-538, 14 Purdy Road, Aaron Darchik. Carport removal, where does that stand, Alexis?
All right, so this was a 2019 corrective action application that required the removal of fill, and the applicant did provide the required soil scientist written confirmation that the fill that had been previously deposited within the wetland was indeed removed. There had been about 9 to 11 inches of fill over the wetland soils. That had been removed. And then it also required native plantings and the establishment of a buffer between the Silver Mine brook and the wetland area in front of the shed. I guess staff would at this point not recommend release of the bond because the plantings and the use of the land between the brook and the shed don't appear to have been maintained as a buffer. I would attempt to share photos, but I'm afraid that I might. Well, we have a few minutes. Let me try to.
Well, let me just interrupt and say, if staff
Yes.
does not recommend release of the bond, I doubt, is there anyone on this commission who recommends release of this bond?
Oh,
No.
I have a quick question. Did the
Yes.
applicant for the bond release submit their request in writing or with a phone call?
They requested it with a phone call.
Okay, then was there any statement of reason why the bond should be released at this time?
They would like their deposit
Fine.
back
Okay.
as the request.
Wouldn't we all? Yes.
okay, so I move to not release the bond for S 19-538.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the bond release request is denied, subject to staff recommendation and receipt of written request.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to 9, approval of minutes. We only have one set of minutes that we were looking at, as far as I know, the August 10th meeting minutes.
Correct.
I read them over and didn't see anything wrong. Does anybody else have any errors, omissions, or comments for the August 10th minutes?
Here.
Move to approve.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed, I'll go through it. Opposed, none, hearing none, the minutes are approved. And ultimately, we'll get the next set. Okay, comments of staff? Alexis?
No, at this point, I'm a little frazzled.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see, I did have something. No, nothing in particular.
Okay. Comments of commissioners. I have a comment further to our inquiry into the changing of the manner of funding the open space fund, which I thank Commissioner Levin for having put before us and, moved it up into our attention. There is a new law signed in July by the governor. I believe it's number 6441. And its third section specifies conditions under which a town like Norwalk, the city like Norwalk, can adopt a measure through the Common Council that would allow for the collection of a specified fee from real estate transactions, the formula being laid out in the bill. The mayor has shown interest in pursuing this, and I would suggest at this point that it's on the kind of track that these things are on. And we may soon be in a position where instead of relying on the occasional pourboire from the budget process, that we will be able to have a dependable source of revenue for the open space fund and raise it to a level where it can be meaningful in terms of acquiring and maintaining space within the city to reach a higher percentage. The first two, I would urge everybody to read this bill. It's easy to find it online. The first two sections relate to an encouragement by the state to the municipalities to devote themselves in a more formal way to the resilience of the communities in the face of climate change. And I suspect that if we do get the opportunity under Section 3 to fund our open space fund in the way that we agreed earlier that we would like to see it funded, we may find ourselves also volunteering, quote unquote, to participate in this manner of just kind of doing something to ameliorate the effects of climate change on the community. All of this has to be thrashed out in the future. I know that Alexis is in touch with the mayor's office about it, and I suspect that there'll be more to hear later, but in any case, I want to reiterate my thanks to Commissioner Levin for getting us going on this. And John, who knows what the world has in store for us if we get this through. Does anybody else have a comment from the commissioner standpoint? Okay, since I don't think we can move up adjournment.
John, I have just a quick question. Can you repeat the state law that you said was passed and signed by the governor in July?
I
think
believe it's 6441.
Okay. I misheard. Thank you.
I think that's it. But if you shoot for that, you'll get it, even if I missed a digit somewhere.
Yeah, and like I said, I saw your email, but haven't yet been able to get you information about that bill, but I will add that to my list of things to do tomorrow and to confirm its applicability and confirm its passage by the legislature.
It's interesting that this bill is the processes that are agreed to in this bill are not made available to every city and town in Connecticut. There are some that don't measure up, and the measurement has to do with the percentage of their housing that is considered affordable. Those who fall significantly below whatever the target line was do not have the option to refund their open space fund in this fashion. At least that's how I read the bill. So what we have done so far has allowed us, what we've done as a city has allowed us to qualify for this, or so it seems. Okay, I don't think we know any more about it than that. So I guess at this point, Alexis, we could give everybody the opportunity to go and watch a rerun of something for 25 minutes and then reconstitute at 7. It'd be lovely to be able to start before 7, but we cannot do that by fiat. So I guess, do I need to move to temporarily adjourn, or how do we work?
Yeah, you can move to do a recess until 7 o'clock. And then I
Okay.
think that during that recess, we will stop recording, but we will put up a note for anyone that's coming into the meeting that we are in recess.
All right, I would say so moved.
Although
There a
I would,
second?
I
Favor?
second, but I think that every recess should be accompanied by a music selection. And we can discuss that in the future.
Yeah. I have a Mickey and Sylvia tape, which, you know, everybody tells me is lots of fun to listen to, so we can.
Matt
Have a
and I
good
are voting for
discussion.
9 Inch Nails, but that's just us.
Okay, used to be 8.5. We are relieved now, and we will see everybody back at 7.
Okay. One moment. There you go. All right. So I'll call the roll. John Mailing,
Here,
Steve Clocky,
Here.
Ed Halowinko,
Here,
Matt Pence,
Here.
John Levin.
Present.
Thank you. I think you had left off with the opening of the public hearing. And then once you open it, I think you just did roll call, and I assume that the 5 of you that are present at the meeting are all going to be present at the public hearing. But I can go over the general process for the public hearing if you want real quick, and then we'll,
that would be a good idea.
okay. All right. So to open the public hearing, I did receive notice of, proof of mailing from the applicant that they had sent notice of the hearing to the adjacent property owners. For the original hearing, this is a continuation of the hearing that you had two weeks ago. The original hearing, when it opened, was also noticed in the paper. At the hearing at your last meeting, it was determined to continue the public hearing to allow the applicant to respond to some of the information and comments made at the start of the hearing. The applicant has made some, provided some additional information, and that is posted on the website under pending applications. There's a revised site plan and some additional photographs. There are photographs from the applicant, and then additionally, I've posted some additional photographs from staff. For the public hearing itself, though this is the continuation of a hearing, I think it makes sense to kind of proceed as you would if you were to open the hearing. And so the applicant would have the opportunity to give a presentation and review what's being proposed. It would then be open to public comment. If any member of the public wishes to speak during public comment, you kind of get one chance to state any concerns or comments or observations that you have. It's not necessarily a back and forth conversation with the applicant, but it is your chance to provide the commission with additional information that they may find useful in making their determination on the application itself. And then we would return to the applicant who has the chance to do a final recap and rebuttal. So with
Okay.
that.
So let it be done. I will declare the public hearing on S21-576 70 Witch Lane. I would declare that open and invite the applicant or applicant's representatives to bring us up to date.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Liz Suchy. I'm a partner at the law firm of Carmody, Torrance, Sandak, and Hennessy, 707 Summer Street in Stamford. And I represent the applicant and property owner, Jennifer Horvath, who was participating in this meeting this evening. Just to recap some of the details from the original date of the hearing, which opened on September 14th. The existing conditions on this 0.79 acre parcel, there's a single family house built in 1950. An intermittent water course flows in a westerly direction. There are upland review areas extending from this on-site water course. It's flanked by lawn to the south and a forested sloped wetland to the north. Off-site wetlands on adjoining properties exist to the west and south, so upland review areas extend from those off-site wetlands onto this property. In May, a show cause hearing was commenced on file V21-1021 for work undertaken without permits. All on-site activities ceased. The wetlands and water courses were flagged by Otto Thiel and then by Steve Danzer, and Mr. Danzer's report is a part of the record. A wetland mitigation plan was then developed and proposed, submitted by Kate Throckmorton of Environmental Land Solutions, who was also on tonight's meeting. A significant activity corrective application was filed in July. You received this preliminarily in August, opened your hearing on September 14th. Since the September 14th meeting, in response to your comments and comments by members of the public, particularly neighbors, site photos were submitted, particularly site photos of the existing conditions today, some photos prior to the work undertaken, and a photo or two of one of the trees that my client would like to remove from the upland review area. A report on the condition of the tulip tree was submitted, but staff did have some questions about the individual who prepared that report and that person's qualifications. There was information submitted on the approximate cubic yards of material, and that estimate was submitted as per your request, along with information on the height of the retaining wall. In addition, my client met with some of the neighbors who were present during the September 14th meeting, who presented their concerns, and she met with those neighbors this weekend. And it appears that that meeting was at least helpful in providing some additional information and clarity to what was being proposed and what had taken place. At this point, if I would like Kate Throckmorton to walk you through the revised plans and to answer any other technical questions that you may have. Kate?
Hi, good evening. For the record, Kate Throckmorton, licensed landscape architect with Environmental Land Solutions. I will share my screen and run you through some of the changes and highlights to the plan. This is the plan. It's zoomed in specifically just on the plan. So you could we could read it a little more easily. And I'm going to just walk you through counterclockwise the comments on the plan, and I hope that they address some of the questions and clarifications that the commission asked last time. So I'm going to start at the top of the page, and some of the questions related to kind of the general disturbance and what we were asking for to remain in the upland review area because it wasn't clearly noted on the plan. So if you've now been to the site, you will notice that at the top of the plan, this is where the existing driveway is. So if you visited the site, you would have pulled right up into this area. You would have noted that there is an exposed ledge area to the right and left of the driveway, and these stone symbols represent a small retaining wall, 2 feet or less, which represents that this area was taken down in grade. So it was higher and it was reduced. And these hatchings, these single hatchings, angled hatchings, represent the area that was where material was taken off. Again, the upland review area is right here. So part of it is in the upland review area and part of it is outside the upland review area. Then this material was manipulated and kind of retaken and pushed and brought down around the western side of the house. And you will also note that at the parking area, right at this point, there is a line of boulders that was laid, and that continues to roughly about this point where it turns more into a riprap slope. And that slope continues underneath these proposed pine trees to this existing tulip tree. And that wall varies from essentially 0, probably averaging 3 feet, and its highest point right about here I think it's 4 to 5 feet in height. So it's not a formal wall with a foundation, but it is a sloped boulder wall that is holding back a few feet of earth in this portion of the site. So that material essentially was moved from here and was brought around the house. It is estimated that the reworking of this earth that is asked to be remain is approximately 125 cubic yards. That brings us down to the back of the site, again, where some material was brought around the back of the house and deposited in this area. So that this area is supposed to be remediated. And let's see. So the new notes include the single hatching area that reflects the borrowed area fill, the beginning of the new boulder wall, which is here. There's also a couple of additions that the owner had asked me to do, which I would consider very minor landscaping areas, but since we're at this juncture, we want it to be comprehensive. So what they're going to reuse some of the mitigation removal fill is to create a new wall right here, probably 2 feet in height, just to further to level out the existing driveway. There's then about a 4 or 5 foot swath that is now gravel that will be returned to a lawn area. And there's a very small, probably 10 square feet bluestone patio that is anticipated to be installed, really just connect the walkway with these side doors of the house. So then this, so that's the new lawn area, which is right in here. This existing lawn area is proposed to remain. The 3 to 5 foot boulder slope is to remain that runs along the side of the house. These new white pine trees will be planted, and the 3 that were kind of in decline are in that area. Those are going to be taken, and these are going to be replanted. Let's see. There are some down tree limbs that were on the original plan. Those will be taken out of the wetlands. I think that was debris that was from some of the work that had happened prior. Again, working down the plan, this is one of the tulip trees that is being requested to be removed. Again, these rocks are to be removed all along the backyard, and all the material within the wetlands will be removed. The area will be replanted with native vegetation and reseeded, partly with lawn and partly with a native meadow mix. Let's see, other than that, I think all of these notes were previously on the plan. So I'm also going to take you to some photographs that were submitted just to clarify, or I hope further clarify. Are the photos up on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a picture taken from the driveway looking over the house, and it shows the 2 tulip trees that the owner is asked to be removed, which is this large tree here, which is at the base of the wall to stay, and this tree, which is on the other side of the stream. This picture was shown as in existing conditions before any work was done. This was a picture that the owner had taken before she bought the property. And what I believe it shows fairly clearly is that there was lawn all around the rear of the house, and the grades was a walkout basement, and these grades came around and matched the foundation at the back of the building. This is it's just a slight enlargement of that same area, but it does help us see that the lawn came down to the stream. The stream is right here, and that there is a very low, but there is an edge to that lawn between the lawn and the stream. The next 2 pictures are the existing conditions, which I took last week. And I wanted to clarify, if I know you've been there, but starting at this bend in the wall, all of these rocks all the way around will come out, and these stakes that are in the ground here are the location of the buried wetland line. So all this material will be coming out. There will be a line of shrubs to replace these boulders to provide some delineation to the lawn, and the lawn in this area will be reestablished.
Excuse me, Kate, is the removed material to be taken off site?
I think most of it will need to be taken off site, but as I said, there's some minor landscaping area in the front that I suspect will be reusing some of this material, but I would say that most of the material is going to have to come off the site.
And that includes the boulders?
Any boulders that are not used in the small wall that I just described will be removed from the site. That's what we anticipate. That's what's
Okay.
proposed. And then this is just another angle, a little bit lower, again, that shows the line of stakes where the wetland line is. And starting at this turn in where the boulders are, all this material will be removed. So I hope that's helped clarify some of your questions, and I'm certainly here to answer any other additional clarifications that you have.
Do you have any photographs of the damaged portion of the tulip tree on the other side of the stream?
I believe there was a picture that was submitted before that shows that it is hollow. That is clear. It is hollow. Let's see. I do have a picture that I can dig out. If you give me a minute, if that would help, but I haven't submitted it for the record yet. I don't know if that's if I can pull that up or not, Alexis.
Yeah, you can pull it up and just email it.
Okay. All right, give me a second. It's going to take me a little time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, if I may, and you're welcome to ask me anything else while I see if I can find that.
Hey, do we have a prescribed size for the tulip tree replacements?
There are two trees that are proposed, Nisa sylvatica. It is I believe a 2 and a 2.5 foot standard size tree that you usually see. The mature height of that is not quite as tall and towering as those tulip trees, specifically, so they won't cause a threat, but they will provide, long-term canopy protection.
So you're saying when they're planted, they'll be 2 or 3 feet tall.
No.
I think she meant a 2 to 2.5 inch caliper.
Yes, correct. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
What height does that caliper correspond to?
Roughly 8 to 10 feet.
Okay, thank you.
While Kate is looking for that, which I'm sure she'll locate momentarily, does anyone have any other questions at this point?
Will you guys be having a certified arborist do an assessment on the tulip trees?
I think the tulip tree that is, once she finds the photo, you'll see that the condition of it is self-explanatory. And that is the one that we are most concerned about. And if at all possible, that one, we would prefer that it come down and not have to do any additional analysis. If the other one that we would like to remove as well is more troubling to you in that you don't have sufficient information, we can certainly forego that at this point. But both of them are trees that my client really feels strongly that do need to come down at some point, particularly the one on the other side of the upland review area. Any luck, Kate?
And just to clarify, the tree that is, the photo is being searched for, that is the tree that is on the opposite side of the watercourse, correct?
That is correct.
Correct.
Well, and the application does reference, it's the last paragraph, it references, based upon examination by licensed arborist, see attached report. Did that report ever get attached?
Yes, so the applicant did provide the letter that was referenced during the September 14th public hearing. I don't believe that the person that wrote the letter, neither the person nor the business is a certified arborist. So I did let the applicant know that it doesn't appear that they are, that they do have a landscaping company, and they do have certain state licenses, but being an arborist isn't one of them.
Oh, there we go.
This is a photograph of the tree on the other side of the stream, in the upland review area on the
There you go.
opposite side, away from the house.
Right, and that cavity is on the far side of the tree trunk, so you can't see it from the house. You'd have to go across the pond, across the stream and into the wetlands and look at it from the other side.
Correct.
I have a question. I've just one question, accepting the fact that the person who wrote the letter isn't certified or whatever, but Ms. Horvath, you're here someplace, right?
Yes, she's present.
Okay.
I am here.
Okay, good. In that letter, he mentioned that the other tulip tree, the one, uphill, had thrown off a sufficient number of branches and other detritus to damage your roof. Is that the case? There was a skylight up there that was damaged and the roof itself was damaged from that tree?
Yes, that is correct. We had several areas of damage on the roof.
Okay. All right, thank you. I have any further questions.
I
Kate,
don't
do you have
either.
anything else to present at this point?
No, I don't.
Okay.
So if there's no more questions from the applicant, from the commissioners, and of course you can all, if you think of something, you can ask them, obviously. If you're an attendee at the meeting and would like to speak or comment or be heard for this application, that's 70 Witch Lane, just use the raise your hand feature in the Zoom application. Otherwise, just hang tight.
Okay, there's no indication.
Yeah, so we do have,
Oh,
we'll move over Paige Robinson. And Paige, you should be allowed to speak once you unmute yourself.
I think, am I unmuted?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to say, we did have the chance to meet Tim and Jen. I think, we had a better understanding than last meeting. I think we were a little bit blindsided from some of the notice. So I just wanted to add as a neighbor, we went over it as long as, it sounds like they're going to remove the fill and all the barriers in question down to the original soil. So I have no other issues with that. My only other concern, which I have voiced to them, is just the living barrier, which maybe Kate could address. But this kind of living barrier that's going down where the retaining wall is, I guess my concern is that it's going to create some sort of berm or, the root system. Just my main concern there is just anything that's going to divert the flow of water or, act as a living barrier, quote unquote, that might do. So that's really my only concern. Everything else seems fine to me. It's just removing anything that's going to divert water or change the drainage there. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Sure. I think what's key is that the soil will be returned to the original grade. And I believe that these shrubs will serve a couple of purposes, not just for aesthetics, but also for Jen's delineation of the lawn. But most importantly for this commission, it will actually help stabilize the edge of the bank. So it won't create any barriers for water. And I think in the long run, it will be a benefit.
Hey, Kate, a quick last question from me. In the event of a substantial flow of water coming into contact with the back of Ms. Horvath's property, I would imagine from looking at the slope that no large portion of stormwater would go uphill towards her house. But I wonder whether the elevation of the wetlands area behind the stream is such that it would tend to catch a large amount of any unusual stormwater that came through. It's just an opinion. I'm not looking for,
Right. Well, I don't know if there's a succinct answer for that. I mean, certainly, the water course serves as a conveyance for stormwater when it is raining. The far side of the stream is slightly lower than the lawn. So if there is a rise in water, it's going to extend onto that existing wetland that is there. And when this recent fill is taken out, it will also extend onto the lawn. And I think what's key is that we're trying to mimic the prior condition. I am aware, or I've been made aware, that there are some drainage issues in this neighborhood, and we're not trying to exacerbate them. We're just trying to bring them back to the previous condition.
Understood. Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right, I would thank Ms. Horvath for her patience and tip my cap to the experts who have helped us a lot here in terms of giving us a fix on what's actually there. Alexis, I think at this point, I can declare the public hearing over. Is that not so?
Sure, you can make maybe a motion to that effect to close the
To
hearing.
close the hearing. Okay, so moved.
I wish to second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, anyone? Okay, the public hearing is officially closed. And again, we thank the applicant for a very detailed and helpful presentation.
Welcome.
And Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you for your time. I would also like, on behalf of my client, to extend our thanks to the neighbors who, while it may have been a little contentious 2 weeks ago, I think the discussion between Jen Horvath and her neighbors resulted in some clarity and better relationship and understanding of what was being proposed and how we were going to get there. So their time is valuable, and we appreciate them spending it with us.
Thank you, Liz. Okay, the public hearing being closed, we now have on our agenda, Alexis, discussion and or decision on S21-576.
Correct. So, I mean, as your standard business, I don't have a draft resolution to guide you since the public hearing just ended, but any comments that you have regarding the application are always appreciative.
So we can make those comments at this point.
Yes, please. And I will use the time between this meeting and the next to try to incorporate any comments that you have into a draft resolution.
Okay, I would just like to contribute an opinion. I've given a great deal of thought to these tulip trees, and I have to say, in all honesty, if I lived in this house, I probably would have cut them down a long time ago. I'm all for canopy, and I'm all for the preservation of wildlife, whatever its constitution, up to the point where it's unreasonable to do so. I think that a tree that's as massive as the one that's on the wetlands, to be as damaged as it is at near the roots, just as much as we can see, there may be more damage than that. It looks to me like a hazard, and I wouldn't want it threatening my house. The other tree may be in better shape, but those trees do not have a history of long and productive life. And the fact that stuff is coming off that tree and hitting the house makes me think that, again, that it should have maybe come down a long time ago. And it's good that it's going to be replaced with something responsible. And while I may not be around to see it when it's, 30 feet high, I have high hopes. Okay, anybody else?
I would just add that I have an opinion which is 100% congruent with the one expressed by the chairman just a moment ago.
All right. Alexis, do you think you have enough?
That's
I mean,
up
it would
to,
be-
the other commissioners.
Well, yeah, yes, you can say, yes, boy, have I ever had enough. I have had more than enough. No, I would look forward to a resolution at our next meeting, or a draft of a resolution that we can examine. And I think we've uncovered not only the concerns we had, but some good responses to those. So that having been said, then I think that unless anyone objects, we can move on beyond the discussion and decision on 70 Witch, and skip ahead to we only have public comments at the end if the ones in the beginning run over. Is that right? I guess it is, because it's not in the agenda. And I don't think there's anybody who wants to speak who hasn't had the opportunity to speak on one or the other of the issues that's in front of us. So not hearing any argument to any of that, I would suggest that we're up to number 12. And the chair invites a motion.
Move to adjourn?
To adjourn, indeed. And I'll have the privilege of seconding it. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. See you all next time. Next meeting
Good
is
night.
October 12th.
Yes.
Maybe I'll be able to put my video up by then.
And we should be working on our recess music selections.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Have a good night.
You get some